Break Up FM.
Three family members killed in Nakasongola ambush. A lack of electricity, poor road networks, delay establishment of Noya Fruit Factory. One Ugandan arrested, 5 on the run for faking kidnap in South Sudan. Good evening, our dear listener. Thank you for listening to 98.0 Break Up FM. It's 26th of September 2023. And the time is 8 p.m. This is our evening news read to you by VIVIAN NAMARA. Police in Nakasongola district are actively pursuing unidentified assailants behind the killing of 3 family members in an ambush yesterday night. The victims have been identified as Julius Mutimba, aged 45, his wife Resti Nakaima, aged 35, who also served as the parish councillor at Kalongo sub-county, and their 6-month-old child, all residents of Bamgolode village. Mutimba operated a drug shop at Bamgolode Trading Center, while his wife worked at another drug shop in Naluvovia Trading Center. Edward Chimbowa, the vice chairperson of Bamgolode village, recounted that at approximately 8 p.m. Mutimba closed his drug shop and rode his motorcycle registration number UFL 736K to Naluvovia village to pick up his wife and child. Chimbowa explained that on their way back home, the family encountered a roadblock set up by the assailants where they were stabbed to death. Subsequently, the assailants placed the lifeless body of the child on the road and abandoned the deceased's motorcycle before fleeing the scene. Roger Bwanga Sunday, the Nakasongola district speaker, Huda Boss, asked the area councillor, said that the assailants specifically targeted the family, suspecting that they may have had inside information about the victims' movements. This is Roger Bwanga Sunday.
Babateredde emisanvu mu kkubo era awo wennyini we babafumitidde ebiso. Kinyamiza era kikolwa simanyi ngeri ya kukiyitamu naye nga kikolwa kibi nnyo. Omwami ono n'omukyala babadde bajabuzi era nga bakola bizinesi ne bafuuka abatuuze mu kitundu kyaffe. Omwami yava Kaliro era gye tusuubira nti gy'ajja okuziikibwa. Omukyala ye yava mu Luweero district sayidi za Kamera Kyampologoma eyo gye yava, era naye tusuubira okuba nti ajja kuziikibwa eyo. Nti babadde babawala nadda nga babalinze essaawa yonna okubakwasa, kubanga engeri emisanvu gye baagisuddemu nga giraga okwetegeka okw'enjawulo.
Sam Tinamazma, the Savannah Regional Police spokesperson, said by the time the police arrived at the scene, the suspect had already fled and active manhunt is underway to apprehend the individuals responsible for this tragic incident. This is Sam Tinamazma.
Abantu abo be bamu abazigu bagenze tebakomye okwo ne bagenda mu maaso era ne bafumita n'omukyala we n'omwana ayalette bona ne bafiirawo. Abaneiba oba abatuuze bwe baawulidde bwe bafunye amawulire ago kwe kusukiramu okugenda okutuukayo nga abazigu badduse ne bayingira ensiko. Bayingidde mu kibira era tewali yabafunye, tebakwatiddwa. Era tusaba community yaffe etuyambe abatuuze, singa bamanya amayitire g'abantu bano bayambeko poliisi, tulabe nti abantu abo bakwatibwa abazigu abo.
The Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, Norbert Mao, says for the Uganda Registration Services Bureau to hit its target of 90 billion shillings as non-tax revenues, the Bureau needs to harmonize its systems to favor the junior businesses to be able to compete with the giant businesses. Mao was speaking during the launch of the Mass Business Registration Strategy, dubbed Easy formalized today. Whereas business formalization in Uganda has undergone tremendous reforms and improvements, over 53% of business operators are still operating in the informal sector, which is narrowing the target of the non-tax revenues. To curb this, the Uganda Registration Services Bureau has today unveiled a mass business registration strategy aimed at creating awareness among the business community from the private sector to formalize their businesses. According to the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, Norbert Mao, the Bureau needs to harmonize its operation to give room for small businesses to compete with giant businesses if the Bureau is to hit its target of non-tax revenues. The Permanent Secretary and Secretary to the Treasury, Ramadan Govi, tasked the business community to formalize if they are to receive the 200 billion shillings small business recovery to jumpstart their businesses that experienced shocks during the pandemic. The government has cited poor road networks and the absence of electricity as the primary reasons behind the delayed establishment of a fruit factory in Lolyango Village, Lungulu Sub-County, Nwea District. In 2018, President Yoweri Museveni directed the Uganda Development Corporation, facilitated by the Ministry of Agriculture, to establish a fruit factory in Lolyango Village under the name Delight Uganda Limited. The president's vision was to ensure that a substantial volume of fruits grown by local farmers in the district would not go to waste. Following this directive, the government supplied locals in the area with seedlings to sustain fruit production for the factory once its construction was completed. However, nearly 5 years later, the project has not commenced, leaving over 10,000 farmers abandoned with numerous fruit trees and facing losses in maintenance. During an interview with our reporter, State Minister for Agriculture Fred Bwino emphasized that the government remains committed to establishing the factory, but stressed the importance of addressing the road network issues and electricity challenges in the area first. This is Minister Bwino.
I want to respond by informing you that the government tasked the Uganda Development Corporation to establish a factory here. UDC has already carried out a study about that intervention. And in their study, they said the factory here can only be viable if we open up the linkage between here and the surrounding community. And I've just received the information here that the district prioritized opening up the link between this place and the community by prioritizing that road. And that was the main question.
Emmanuel Orach, the Nwea District chairperson, revealed that the road connecting the proposed factory site to the community has now been opened, underscoring the urgency of expediting the factory's establishment. The construction of the factory requires a minimum of 17 billion shillings. Security authorities in Lamu District have apprehended a man accused of orchestrating a fake kidnap and demanding a ransom of more than 800,000 shillings. Lampard Tabo was arrested from Guy Village, Paloga Sub-County yesterday following a joint operation by the local intelligence network with support from the community members. Tabo, in collaboration with 5 other Ugandans who remain at large, had spent the past 4 days demanding ransoms of over 800,000 shillings from several people. They claimed these funds were required by their purported South Sudanese captors for their release. Geoffrey Asbon Ocheng, the Lamu Resident District Commissioner, disclosed that 4 days ago they received distressing calls from the suspects claiming to be abductees demanding ransoms. He stated that in cooperation with their South Sudanese security counterparts, Ugandan security took immediate action to verify the situation and rescue individuals. However, they subsequently discovered that the entire incident had been staged. This is Geoffrey Osborne Ocheng.
4 days ago, we received disturbing phone calls from a group of youth telling us that they have been abducted in South Sudan and lives are at risk that needed our intervention as the security team of Lamu District. We swung into action to ascertain the fact and also coordinate to see that they are rescued from wherever they were. We coordinated with South Sudan government, we coordinated with our sister security agencies around, but our investigation finally found these teams in Paloga sub-county where they are demanding for ransom from leaders, and we realized that these were not true. Their actions were stage managed, and we have now apprehended the one suspect and the 5 are at large.
Osborne further explained that after thorough investigation and collaboration with community members, the security forces managed to apprehend Tabo, who is believed to be a ringleader of the group, while the other suspects are still at large. Tabo is locked up at Ngom Oromo UPDF barracks as the investigation continues. Thank you, dear listener, for listening to 98.0 Top FM. That has been our evening news read to you by VIVIAN NAMARA. Have a blessed night.
That was the news in English on 98.0.